years ago, I reviewed this app called Zen Brush. I'm going to link the video over here in case you haven't seen it. You can go there and check it out. And Zen Brush is an iPad app, and it's also for iPhone, that lets you draw with your finger just like many other drawing apps. But the key about Zen Brush is that it emulates the calligraphy brush or the Sumi brush. Not a lot of drawing apps do that, and I thought at the time when I reviewed Zen Brush that it did it actually very well. I used it many times, not as much as I wanted to because Zen Brush had a few shortcomings which I talk on my review. But the reason for this video is because Zen Brush released version 2 of their app called Zen Brush 2. So I want to take a look at it and show you what I think and show you a little bit of what the app is all about and tell you a little bit of what I think about it. Before I start, I want to make a disclaimer and say that I'm not affiliated in any way with this app, so they're not really paying me or giving me anything to say what I'm up to say in this video. This is strictly my opinion, what I think about this app and how it can help you if you're doing Japanese calligraphy. The first thing that you're going to notice is that Zen Brush 2 is a new app. So it's a new version, so you have to buy it again. So if you bought Zen Brush 1, you're not getting the free update. You have to buy Zen Brush 2, which is fine, no big deal. The icon is a little bit different, looks a little more updated. So I'm gonna open it up, and right here, it's very simplistic, and I think this is one of the criticism about this app, is that it's too simplistic, doesn't have a lot of feature, but they're missing the point because it's not a drawing app like, let's say, Paper is by 53. Any other drawing apps or Paint or whatever, is that they have a lot of features, they have a lot of colors, they have pencils and ink and pens and all kinds of stuff. And Zen Brush doesn't really. Zen Brush just strictly stays with the effect of that the brush is the Sumi brush. So what you are going to do on this app is two things. Either do Sumi paintings or do calligraphy. I think that that's what is the best at, and I think that that's what it's designed for. So it's not going to have a lot of colors, not going to have a lot of choices in terms of the brush, anything like that. Everything's going to be mimicking the Sumi brush. So one of the things that is new about this app is that it has a slightly new interface, which is kind of nice. And down here at the bottom, you have your menu, and you have only two colors. You got red and black, and that's it. Now, from each color, you have different tones. So for example, you have the really dark, and you have a little bit medium light, and then super light. So for example, if I have here the black, then if I make a line here, this is, really dark black, and then this is medium, and then this is really light. This will become really helpful if you're doing Sumi paintings because you have different tones. If you go to the red one, same thing. This is the dark red, and this is the lighter red, and this is the light red. So again, that's pretty cool. The Zen Brush 1 didn't have the red color, it was only black color. So I like having the red color. That's actually a pretty good addition. If you want to get rid of this, you have the undo button right here. But if you just want to delete it, you can just hit the delete button, and it just deletes the whole thing. So, and then you have an eraser too. So for example, let me go back here to the black, make a line, and then I hit the eraser, and I can just kind of bring my finger around here, and then just erase like this. So that's pretty nice. And that's pretty much it in terms of colors and brushes. If just having, I just hit that button over here and then just move the menu on the top, which is fine. I like to keep it in the bottom, doesn't matter. But that's really it. You have black, red, and an eraser. That's all for the brushes. Now right here, I'm going to go back to black, back to the deep black. And here it has the slider where you can adjust the size of your brush. So for here, an example, I can make a big thick line, or you can make a thin line, or you can make a really tiny thin line. So that's pretty cool because if you want to do a painting, or you want to do a calligraphy with different tones and different sizes of strokes, different thickness, then you can adjust it with that, which is, I like that. Zen Brush 1 had that too. One of my favorite features of Zen Brush 2 is that now you have over here, let me just delete this real quick, is now you have over here the dryness. You can make the brush or the ink look dry, regular, or really wet. So for example, the standard, which is the regular ink, I'm going to put it about this big, I'm going to make a line. So this is the standard, which is try to mimic the absorption of the ink into the paper. So that's pretty good. And then if you go to wet, then it's gonna look like the ink is really wet, like it's bleeding. I know that people that do sumi painting were actually looked at, because that's a look that some sumi paintings will go for. In calligraphy, maybe not as much, but it's awesome that they have that effect. Now, the one that I'm excited about is the dry look, because when I make a line, it just have that dry feel to it, and then there's a lot of, especially Zen calligraphy, you do want that dry effect. And I'm really excited about that, because you can really get that dry effect with this effect now, which I'm really happy about it. So, like I said, over here, I'm going to delete this again. And here you have the undo buttons. And then right here is your paper. The user interface is a little different than Zen Brush 1 on this. And I know that they've added a bunch of different papers. Most of them are the same, but I know they added a bunch of new ones. So, this quite a bit of choices here. For me specifically, I'm not really into using all kinds of these different papers. I know some of you that may be interested in using Zen Brush for sumi paintings will be more interested in that, because it's part of the artistic approach. So again, like I said, there's a bunch of different papers, a bunch of different frames, which is kind of neat if you want to do something creative, something different. You know, it just shows one here and gives you a frame. You know, that's pretty cool. You know, it gives you like the little paperweight on top. That's kind of neat. And I think there's one here, there's a scroll, that's kind of cool, but I'm not really into that. Then you got color paper, which again, it'll be good for those of you who want sumi painting. And then seasons, if you want to paint something that has some seasonal themes. So I'm going to go back to standard, and I'm going to go back to the Japanese paper 1, which is, I think, the one that looks the most as the just the regular rice paper that is common for calligraphy. So next on the menu is this menu, which gives you a couple new features. For example, now you can save a project, which was a big problem with Zen Brush 1, is that you're working on a project, but you couldn't save it. So you could export it as an image, but if you started working on it and you want to work on a later date, you couldn't do it. You couldn't save it. So that kind of became a problem. So now you can save a project without actually exporting it as an image just yet. You can export it when you're done. You can open in your photo library, you can share Facebook, Twitter, whatever. You have open in, and you have a JPEG, a PNG, and a transparent PNG, which that is awesome. It's really good that it's doing a PFG transparent, because sometimes you want to have just the character and you don't want the background. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, then the next one over here is the Stylus. And this is something I haven't really played with it a lot, too much, because I don't own any of these styluses. And I know that it doesn't, sometimes with the finger can be a little difficult to create some of the strokes of calligraphy that we're used to. Might be easier with the Stylus, I don't know, because I don't own any of them, so I may not be able to give them a fair, complete review without reviewing them with a Stylus. If I do get one, I'll try it. I did try it with a regular stylus. That's not one of these, but it's using your finger, because it's not really connecting with the stylus to a USB to actually react the way that it's supposed to be. Now it has this feature here. It says finger stimulate pressure, which is what I'm thinking is supposed to, you can press the screen and the stroke will be affected by the pressure, so you can do thick and thin lines by how much pressure you put on the screen. It didn't really work that well for me, and I'll show you that. For example, I'm gonna just leave it regular, put it right here, and I'm gonna put it pretty big, and I'm gonna make a simple line here, which is like this. And that's just a simple vertical line. Now I'm gonna change it to finger stimulate pressure. I'm not changing anything. I'm not changing the size or the ink. Right now I have it on the dry look, and I'm gonna do the same thing like I did before, and it shows up like that. And I'm assuming that it's thicker on the top and it goes thinner, because as I was dragging my finger across the screen, I wasn't putting as much pressure, which I think is awesome that it has that feature, because it can give you the ability to do thick and thin lines based on your pressure. My only thing with that is that when I try to use it, it wasn't really working the way I wanted to. And I'll show you what I mean. So I have it here. I have the finger pressure thing going on. And I'm going to try to brush a character. I'm going to brush Key. So for example, I'm going to go like this. And and I'm trying to put a lot of pressure on the screen, but for some reason it's not taking it. So I mean, like, I like that. I like the fluidity. I like that it has a lot of energy. And what I love the most is that you have those blotted spots where you have a lot of ink and then you have that dryness. You know, I think that was really missing on Zen Brush 1, and I really like that they were able to figure it out on this one. But my only problem is I'm really trying to make a lot of pressure, but I just feel like it's just not it's not picking it up. So I'm gonna try to do this without this pressure thing, so it'll be just regular. And see, when you're going like this, every line is the same thickness. So now you have this big ball kind of clunky looking character because everything is the same thickness. But when you put the finger with the pressure, then you're able to get those thin, and then that. See, when I put my finger there and it made it a big dot here and then up, and just trying to really put a lot of pressure here, but I still can't get it. So I don't know, maybe this will be a lot easier with a stylus. That's the thing that I'm maybe missing, is that maybe you'll be able to get this done a lot better with a stylus. So what is this app good for? Exactly what I said what Zen Brush 1 was good for. If you are into sumi paintings, or if you are into doing calligraphy, whether Chinese or Japanese, doesn't matter. This is good for you sitting down on the couch, maybe you're watching TV or doing something else, and you want to practice your strokes, or you want to practice composing the kanji, or you want to practice composing the calligraphy, and you want to save on paper and ink. So that's it for this quick quick review of Zen Brush 2. Again, if you own Zen Brush 1, Zen Brush 2 is only $2.99, so it's not really that expensive. So I think it's totally worth to buy it and not be upset that you didn't get on a free upgrade. And if you do have the stylus, then let me know if you use Zen Brush 2 with the stylus to see if it works a little bit better. And that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one.